Howdy folks, and welcome to part 7 of the video documenting the visit to wargaming.net's global HQ in Cyprus at the beginning of January this year. This is the second part of the meeting with Viktor Kislyi, Wargaming's CEO, and I'm not going to bore you any longer, we're just going to carry on straight on from where we left off in part 6. Hope you enjoy it.
Because you mentioned you want wargaming, and I'm not so sure if you're talking specifically about World of Tanks to go on for the next 20 years. When you look at a company, what are the longest and most successful games probably of our generation? These has to be World of Warcraft,
Yeah.
right? So that's been going 10, nearly 11.
They're 11.
Well, it will be close to 11 years. And if you look at their subscriber numbers with regards to their recent content that they've been producing, it's just gone dwindled. I think it's about a third of what it was a couple of years ago, basically. Anyway, we just have to my rough estimate. That was because basically just a content drought, an absolute content drought within their game. The thing is Blizzard have been able to develop other huge successful titles in the last few years, like Hearthstone,
Diablo 3.
Also
Stalker.
Heroes as well is doing okay, but Hearthstone's their real big product. So I guess, but it feels like from being a very long-time WoW player that I saw the game that I loved just basically kind of just fizzle out very, very, very brutally. Blizzard kind of used that to be able to finance their other games. What's your, obviously you need to use the revenue that you generate from World of Tanks to try and make the next World of Tanks, right? What's your opinion of how Blizzard have handled that and what they think about how WoW has gone, and how do you think that could relate to your vision of World of Tanks for the next 5 or 10 years?
I cannot give you much comments on Blizzard.
Yeah.
It's a very respectful company which showed the way to pretty much all of us. We were inspired by the success of online game as opposed to retail product, and this huge online world with millions of people playing together, guilds, socialization, etc. This is absolutely top-notch, shiny example of everything good.
Maybe not so much anymore though.
Their mantra, gameplay and quality, it needs to be mantra of every gaming company. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, you have to kill a lot of internal projects. You have to have the best possible talents across the world. We were inspired not just by the fact that it exists, but also by analyzing what they were doing. And it's simple: quality, players, gameplay, this kind of stuff. I may say maybe a little bit too much arrogance, a little bit in certain points, philosophically. We try to avoid that. We also can analyze other games, and I, from time to time, often mention League of Legends, and I know, Brandon, and we always say good words about them, especially their success in esports. I have philosophical view on this. This is gaming industry, and this is online gaming industry. Not only online gaming industry, but global online gaming industry. There are a couple of titles already which achieved success in China, in Russia, in the global phenomenons already. We tend to believe we are one of those. And I would switch focus in my answer. I would switch focus to the company. It's not just about World of Tanks. You understand? This is company. These are people organized in certain ways with certain history, and accepting new people. The company itself is a living organism. We have more than 4,000 employees. Are they organized in the most effective way on the planet? Certainly not. Are they the worst organized organization on the planet? No, we're good, we're decent. So this is our mission. I saw the first computer game when I was a little kid in the 80s, and absolutely fell in love with that, starting from ZX Spectrum, even older computers with green font, black screen, green font. That's it. As a boy, I was fascinated. Damn, this is it. And since then, I was playing, always, right? And I had a choice to, pursue a chess player career or a physicist career or whatever. I would probably be a good scientist, a physicist. I graduated from physics, lasers. But I chose this. Why? Because I was so passionate, including a bunch of my friends, that I thought, okay, I am enjoying these games, I will be enjoying this. My friends are enjoying this. Oh, guess what? I want the world also to, but I see what can be done better, new games or tweaking civilization. Why don't I devote my life to making games too, so that the world is even more fascinated with computer games, and I stay true to that. I mean, this year is 20 years from my first kind of attempt to make a computer game, so 20 years we can say. Well, officially it's like 17 from the commercial side, but it's in reality it's 20. It was 1995 when we first started coding a game. And it's not easy mission, because yeah, it's easy for any one of us and for every little boy to, oh, I can make this whatever Call of Duty much better game, or we should add these helicopters, submarines, bam bam bam. Okay, welcome to the real world. It doesn't work like this. You have to assemble a team of, speak of Destiny, of 500 people. You have pumping $500 million, US dollars into financing this. Prototyping, testing, graphics, sound, networking, etc. Then you do have to spend some marketing and PR and etc. so that people know about your game, as opposed to watching TV, other games, or drinking beer. It's a very investment intensive thing, and it's not getting any better. It's getting worse. If you compare it's the same like Hollywood, but I think games surpassed Hollywood in the intensity of this, because it's interactive, it's highly competitive. So we carry this duty in front of in the face of the society to keep bringing this entertainment, this education, this you can say a lot of good things about modern games, right? They're educational, they teach you teamwork, they teach you to think. Gamers are people with different mentality. And I told you many times that Civilization was my MBA, and I hope Master of Orion. Can you turn this? Master of Orion is going to be kind of high school education for my son. He's already like a fan. He did not yet, okay, he did play like for an hour when I left computer. And I don't allow him to play a long time because he's 7 years old.
Do you think it could be the next Civilization?
Well, Civilization is great.
It's like
it's like
right. Yeah, exactly.
Master of Orion 2 was such a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, 18 years ago. But anyway, I think computer games are good. They bring good to humanity in the same way as good literature, good cinema, education, etc. It allows our kids to become smarter team players, to be more prepared for this violent world outside. And I devoted my life, and my colleagues are devoting their lives to do this. And like in the movie, before James Cameron, you have to spend 5, 6, 7 years. Okay, in terms of games, sometimes smaller. In case of StarCraft 2, longer. 5, 6, 3 years, millions of dollars today. Okay, there's some kind of runaway successes with Flappy Birds, etc., but those are kind of exceptions. I'm telling you, Clash of Clans development, in spite of the fact that it looks simple, is expensive. The same for Game of War. To devote amount of your time, your life, your sweat, your blood, you sacrifice a lot of comes to your family, your friends, having a good time to make this. And only after you release your game, you can see reward. Or only after James Cameron releases Avatar 2, he will see the money. Okay, we all know he will get his money back, or maybe not. That's the point. You don't know. There were cases when money was not brought back with even the most promising films.
Yeah. Nobody sets out to make a bad movie, and yet bad movies get made.
Yes, and for the games, it's even more so. We are in this, let's say, not only business, we are in this mission. So, and our audience is very, very demanding. I think we did a very good thing bringing free-to-play to the West. Okay, not alone. There was League of Legends, some other good games in the West doing this. We took this model from the East, we modified it, we had the first test run in Russia, it was successful, and then we decently brought it to the West too, and then back to Asia, to Korea, to China, to Japan. We did a lot of experiments. We invented a lot of bicycles. Now I'm speaking about wargaming now. We have been copycatted a lot of times, direct copycats, a lot of those, and spiritual copycats. Okay, I still call this inspiration because, of course, World of Tanks was inspired by certain games as well, including World of Warcraft, Navy Field, that kind of stuff. We're okay with that. So we reach each other in this sense, and now we are being inspired by League of Legends' success in esports. And again, I'm proud I'm proud of the fact that we inspired a lot of developers to do some things right, although in spite of the fact they are, by definition, our competitors. So here we have to find the balance. And right now we're pushing too hard. So speaking of other games, etc., yeah, this is company. And yeah, we could pull it off when we were 100 to release it in Russia, like, with a couple of tanks and, crappy maps and not very polished everything. But today, as a global phenomenon, you have to have muscle, you have to have critical mass of your employees of various professions, starting from designers, visionaries, artists, programmers of various kinds, network engineers, server admins, music guys, voiceover guys, localization, script writers. There are hundreds of professions you have to accumulate, the best of the best, and there's no one physical location on this planet where you can accumulate all those. That's why we have 16 offices, because the talent starts, our technology starts in Australia. It just so happened the best of the best technology was there. That's why we have office in Sydney, with 200 people, something. And so it's very risky business. In spite of the success and all the red carpet and pictures and interviews, you may think we just sit here and drink martinis. No, we work hard. My part is not easy either, right? It's from time to time I give some game design ideas to the designers, but to organize 4,500 people spread across the world from Sydney to San Francisco and Seattle, across Eastern Europe, unite these cultures, religions, mentalities. We have Germans, French, Japanese, Russians, Ukrainians. We have a bunch of nationalities which are technically speaking at war with each other today, right? It's not easy, and keep releasing those, let's say, updates, each of which has to be perceived better than the previous one. Each update, the expectations are like, okay, it's going to be, when it's update number 65, it's not easy to do 65 times in a row. But we don't give up. We keep doing this. We also, as a company, have our ups and downs. We take hits. Not everything goes well, but we're very persistent. We're very now introverted looking. So we don't blame the outer world. The easiest way for us, like internally, would be to blame Russian crisis and the war, geopolitical crisis, blah blah blah. No, we are smart enough and decent enough to understand that the problems our players experience righteously and complain through your channels as well is our internal problems. I'd say challenges. Challenges of the size, challenges of the age, challenges of being in the entertainment industry. We're now intensively addressing our internal issues, and I'm very positive and optimistic we'll keep impressing the world with good stuff inside the World of Tanks and other projects too. Speaking of other projects, that's the last sentence. You understand? You mentioned investment. Yes, when we had this success in initial and lots of extra money coming from World of Tanks, we did not go to tropical islands to drink martinis and drive Ferraris.
No, of course.
We started a very rainy island.
Yeah.
We started very heavily investing it into other studios, other projects, other platforms, bring our operations to Europe physically, to America physically, not your cheapest location, to Japan, to Korea, to Southeast Asia. It's a lot of investment. And the definition of investment is that it's risky. You never know whether it will pay out or not. First, you have to invest money, people, time, nerves, sweat, and blood. Always hope for a little bit of luck, which you always need in entertainment. And then maybe after some time, it pays out. So we are in a very risky business, and we take this risk. Example: World of Warplanes. We all know, the investment of World of Warplanes is very similar to World of Tanks. The same order of money, like dozens of millions of dollars, and time span of 3-4 years, and it's not a successful game. Did we specifically make it non-successful? No. Did we want it to be a big success? Yes. Did it happen? No. That's life. So, we were smart enough to put our, let's say, eggs into, when we say our eggs, it's not just our eggs, that the eggs of the gaming community. Hey, this is a worship game for you. Hey, you don't play on the PC? This is Xbox. Oh, that's PlayStation. We're now in some kind of beta for PlayStation 4.
Next beta weekend is coming up.
The kids, a generation of people here on this planet who don't use PC, they just mobile devices, guys. Here's your Blitz. It's the same. The budget for Blitz and the time with all this experimenting with technology, with controls, is a couple of times bigger than initially World of Tanks. We did it. It's looking good. So we are in this business, and we are. Let me finish with this. We're very, very proud of what we have done, of what we are doing, and we will be proud. You will see of what we will deliver. We will keep delivering for the next 10, 20 years.
Fantastic.
If we still have time, the one question.
We have time. We have time.
One question I've been thinking of. Speaking of Blizzard, talking with Marcus earlier, as an example, the way Blizzard certainly used to develop World of Warcraft was they didn't just. They were never happy with what they had. They were aware that there was competition around them in other games that were. I mean, they were the market leader. They were the standard by which all of the other games in the genre were judged. But people were constantly trying to do things better than Blizzard. And so, I can't remember what game it was. I think it might have been Lord of the Rings Online. But they had a special quest item bag. You had your inventory bags at the bottom of the screen, and one of them was just the quest items. Because if you've been playing World of Warcraft, you need a quest item to complete a quest. You're searching through 6 different bags, looking at all these different icons. Which one's the quest item? Lord of the Rings Online, everything quest related was stored in one bag. What Blizzard did, it's just one example of the sort of thing that Blizzard certainly used to do with World of Warcraft, is they would watch what their competition was doing, and they wouldn't necessarily just copy it. They would take it that one step further and say, okay, they're doing that better than us.
Yeah.
How can we do that better than them? So instead of having a quest bag with all of your quest items in it, they had a quest tracker that popped up on screen, and the quest items would be there. You didn't even have to look in your bags for them, they were just there. So bearing that in mind, and I'm glad that you mentioned some of your competition, because talking about games like, for example, well, maybe not so much War Thunder, but games like Armed Warfare, which a lot of people are saying is just World of Tanks 2.0, which has got to be very complimentary to you, that they have pretty much blatantly copied so much of the game. But there are definitely things that they do very differently, particularly artillery, for example.
Or ammunition.
Or different ammunition choices. How much of what your competitors are doing are you keeping an eye on, and maybe thinking about saying, well, okay, maybe they do that better than we do. Are we going to copy that? Are we going to maybe improve on it and implement it ourselves?
I will be honest with you. I have never ever played in my life a single battle of Armored Warfare or World of Warcraft. Just never happened in my life. Other people will play, of course, World of Warcraft and League of Legends too. Not a single match. It just so happens. I don't want to sound arrogant now, but I think for us the strategy is, it is, that it's not about Armored Warfare or World of Warcraft or whatever. We cannot prohibit people to do space games, World of Tanks style, or whatever, playing games, World of Tanks style. It's about, speaking of World, it's just only about World of Tanks. Today, the things we have implemented in World of Tanks is much more than in, I think, any free-to-play game, probably apart from League of Legends, right? We're proud of what we did, and when we think about a feature, we can be inspired by Mercedes or Audi putting a nice feature in their user interface. If I see something in an Audi, music system, which is like, wow, with one wheel you can do this. Hey, we can do this for whatever carousel rotation thing. I'm making this up, right? Why not? I don't play Armor Warfare, and I don't think we should copy this or that. Our designers are smart enough and experienced enough, and they have something to be proud of, to come up with those things which will make our World of Tanks players happier. And this refers not only to computer games, to any product or mass market product on this planet. If you stay the course, if you understand your audience, if you make those little features or big or medium features or service around your product, be it a car, or motorcycle, or clothes, or whatever, film or TV series, you'll get users. We cannot chain anyone to our game. It's free to play, it's free world, you don't download anything, and you can spend your free time just watching a movie, drinking a beer. We very clearly understand this. So here we are open-chested, I mean, we're naked here. There was no freaking government-controlled economy where you, like in the old Soviet days, you have to buy just this kind of shoes and this kind of car. You have no choice, right? So it's about we're naked and open chest here. We have, that's our challenge, to come up with cool things. How we come up with them, that's a creative process. Don't you think some movies are looking very similar to each other, some songs looking very similar to each other, some cars look very similar to each other? Well, that's life. And sometimes it happens, sometimes it just happens. So we're philosophical on this. We're looking at World of Tanks, we're looking at players who play it, we're looking at players who can potentially play that, and this is where our creative thinking is concentrated. Yes, we will, let's put it like this, we realized we should do something different with artillery before Armor Warfare even showed up, so it's not about Armor Warfare artillery.
Okay, sure.
So it's a creative process on specific elements of our product. That's it. That's not arrogance. That's cynical truth of life.
But at the same time, it can't be bad for you that a game like Armor Warfare shows up and is handling artillery in a different way, because they're handling artillery. I mean, you obviously got a whole range of options that you're going to look at and test and experiment with and figure out how it's going to work the best way. And Armored Warfare are basically play testing it for you. You don't have to put any investment into it. One of the options that you're going to be considering is going to be the way Armored Warfare are doing it. So they're actually saving you development time and money by doing it for you.
Well, you understand how much development time and money we save to Obsidian, huh? In the first place.
Well, it's a return of investment then. Quite good.
This is entertainment. I'm absolutely calm about this. I know that people will be making games like World of Tanks or taking, it's funny, like our experience transfer is cheaper than World of Tanks. The experience transfer was invented in this form in World of Tanks, so it's like, okay.
There have been some blatantly obvious copies though.
Yeah.
Particularly coming out of the far Asian Facebook games that just, they haven't even tried to hide the fact that they're copying garage models. I mean, you can, on one hand you can say, well, they haven't copied the World of Tanks models. It's a Panzer III looks like a Panzer III. But when they're using the same garage model of World of Tanks, it's a little harder to disguise the fact that it's an obvious rip-off.
Or E100, which they probably took pictures of in Bovington Museum.
Yeah, from that well-known...
It doesn't matter, this is philosophical. I don't want to sound like, sarcastic or cynical on this. No, we know that we did not invent gaming industry on copycatting or entertainment industry. It was before us, it will be after us. Absolutely calm, but the truth of life is our product and the specific qualities of our product, be technical, entertaining, gameplay, whatever, maps, community, activities, that's it. That's what we focus on, and that's what we take from Blizzard. This is good because this is true. I mean, this is honest towards the players. Hey, this is our product, come and see. We think we made everything so that you like it. If it's true, spend your free time playing it. If you stop playing it, it means something wrong on our side. It's our job to analyze and make it better. Well, of course, good news is that we have vocal players and the accumulation of vocalism in like yourself, this blogging and videos, where you accumulate the opinion, which makes our job easier these days. That's our job, everyday job. 4,500 people working every day to make to bring a little more happiness every day to our players.
It's quite a healthy outlook, actually, because there's nothing you can do about any geopolitical things that are going on outside of wargaming. There's nothing you can do about the way Gaijin are taking War Thunder or Obsidian are taking Armored Warfare. So all you can concentrate on is what you are doing.
Mm. So you talked about the health of games based on player numbers, and if the player doesn't like the game, then they leave the game, and you don't trap them. They're free to go off and do whatever they want. Yeah, of course.
How can we possibly trap them?
Of course. So I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think in 2014 you set a Guinness World Record of having the most players online on a single server ever, I think, right?
Something like this, yes.
So do you have numbers of active World of Tanks account number of players that you have every single day?
It depends on how you count, but this count is counted in dozens of millions.
Yeah. So is this dozens of millions? Has it peaked, or do you think that it's still going up?
We have, let's say, different speed of dynamics in different regions. So we have this our blessing and curse. Well, blessing because that's the whole world which plays your game, and curse is that different types of different nationalities and different geopolitical groups of people just live their lives differently. Not only in games, but in any products, be it food, drinks, cars. The Japanese people and the Russian people, they're from different planets. It just so happened. Polish and Germans, culturally have some differences, etc. So,
if you look at it like holistically, as in globally, World of Tanks population, do you feel that is it still going up?
Yeah, it definitely is going up.
It definitely
yes,
is.
Of course.
Okay, it is. Okay.
Well, of course, the biggest saturation is, technically speaking, in Russia, because it has only 120 million is population, and if you halve it by men, we are more male, product, given the age restrictions and access to computer and good internet. We're very saturated in Russia by definition. So, but some areas, I think Europe is far, far, far away from potential saturation. And the same for America, but okay, those markets are less tank culture and they're more competitive. So this is show business.
It's quite surprising just how popular tanks have been. Again, I was speaking of markets. You would have thought that airplanes would have been a bigger market in Europe, not tanks. I mean, in the Eastern European states and in Russia, tanks, no-brainer. Everybody loves tanks out there. And it was really surprising just how popular it has been in Europe.
And it has affected even museums and such.
Yeah.
We do certain things in real world, helping living history, Wellington, Samur, USS Iowa, of course some East European like Russian, Belarusian museums and societies. Well, some Americans do some special events for veterans, etc. Well, we have to do it, and we are proud to do this. This is not easy, but this is not our main business.
No.
Because we are electronic, we are virtual.
Well, I'm going to call a halt to proceedings for this episode there. It's been almost half an hour now. There should be one more of these videos, and then we're pretty much done with all the recorded video footage of our visit to Wargaming.net's global headquarters. I hope you've been finding these interesting. I realise not everybody really does find this sort of thing very interesting, but enough of you do to make it worthwhile my putting these up as bonus content in addition to the regular videos that I upload on a daily basis. As always, folks, take care, and I'll catch you next time.